Welcome everyone, this is Polyphenals and you're listening to LOTRO Players News, where we take a look at the latest news in LOTRO and here at LOTRO Players. And this week we have with us Terry Adwin.
Hi!
Erendis.
Hey everybody.
Sanswinda.
Hello.
And tonight, the big news is that
The games are back up.
yeah, the game is finally back up after a very, 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 very long downtime. It was scheduled to be 22 hours and it was closer to 80 if we ignore that little 10 minutes that it was up before they found out that there was something wrong with the account server. So 80 hours, which meant that a lot of people were going through LOTRO withdrawal for the second half of last week. As we're wondering, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? What are we going to do? Hoping to get back up. Anything you had scheduled in LOTRO for the last half of the week was pretty much shut down. There went Field Trip. There went Friday Night Fights. There went Corey Olsen's stream. There went just about any other stream you may be following there, including, of course, Cordovan's video stream and his LOTRO stream both also. He sort of was answering questions for people on what's going on, and essentially what was going on is they were trying to move servers from one room to another room, and
Without breaking anything.
without breaking anything, and apparently that second part of it just didn't go quite right.
Oops.
Yeah. According to Draculetta, who, while he's never worked in a data center, he has had enough clients who had their servers at data centers for him to have been there quite a bit. He says, the operation of moving from one room to another on these servers is pretty easy. Except that whenever you turn off a server, there's always a risk it may not like coming back up.
Minor details.
Minor detail on that, and apparently, yes, that was quite a bit of problem. So they were having a lot of fun down at the data center, I'm sure, trying to see what was going wrong. And I'm just trying to imagine what was going on in the room where those servers used to be kept that made them think that it was safer to move the servers than to keep them where they were. Okay. Because obviously, because I believe they were given, I think Samsung was given like 4 days notice about this, which meant that they thought that whatever it was going to be urgent. I don't know. It's just all speculation, but we just know their game is back up!
Yay!
And of course, there comes the inevitable question, what are we going to do about all the time that is lost? So therefore, we have the whole thing about what they are going to do as a result of this. Of course, first off, they refer you to the account customer support if you had any questions on billing or anything like that were outside of the scope of this message that was posted. And the first thing they noted is that the skirmish event is being extended until March 18th, which is, well, wee hours of Monday morning. So we'll say that it effectively ends on Sunday unless you happen to live in New Zealand or someplace like that. And Legendary Store XP has been reduced from the 60% to the 80%, because normally you only get 60% of your XP when you're on the Legendary server. They've changed that to 80% from now until Wednesday, March 13th, which has everybody thinking that the Legendary server is going to get Moria on March 14th. Now, the first question someone had when they announced this, that people started speculating that March 14th must be the date for Moria, Their first question was, wouldn't the skirmish event still be on? Because I had, of course, assumed that they were trying to avoid having them both on at the same time. But Cordovan did say they do have a means to keep the legendary servers from having the skirmish event. So even though skirmishes will go live on the 14th, most likely, assuming that everybody's guess is correct, then that means the skirmish event will still not be active there, even though it's going to be active everywhere else for a few more days. And
Yay.
I know you're really excited about the skirmish event. And also note that this week's store sale, which is now live, they decided that they will have it go on for the full normal week, meaning that it will have an extended duration and that the next week's store sale will start on Thursday as usual. So the overlap will be longer than normal for the store sale.
Right.
On top of this, players will receive a coupon code for a free appreciation box containing 5 100% XP boosts, 5 enhanced XP supplies, 5 tomes of defense, 2,000 figments of splendor. I'm sure some people will find that last one to be useful. 3 rapid crafting boosts, and an assortment of seasonal dyes. And right now, it says 1 per account, but looks like they have not made the final decisions on exactly whether it's 1 code or what exactly is the decision that they're going to be having on that matter. But obviously, there's going to be some sort of limitation to make sure that people don't do any way to proliferate such things. And this will expire at the end of April. All VIP and premium players will receive 250 LOTRO points if they have logged in within the previous 30 days. And of course, VIP subscriptions will be extended to account for the time that was lost. And once things settle down on Monday, there will probably be a little bit more information on this in case anyone had any questions on it. Anyone here have any questions? I hear crickets.
Well, I mean,
Yeah, I know. Self-explanatory, right?
it is. I mean, I think LOTRO points are great. I think the extended time is great. Apparently there were a lot of people that were way more upset by the extended downtime than they really should have been, because, I mean, we were lucky that Standing Stone kept us in the loop. I mean, as much as possible, because they could have just stated the original downtime and then gone mum when the game didn't come up. And then people would have had reasons to be completely upset about them. Yeah. But I mean, this was really outside of their control. So it wasn't their fault that the game was still down. And yeah, so, I missed a lot of, what was going on hate-wise. I was more in the loop as to the reactions to the bad feeling stuff that was going on. But yeah, apparently there were a lot of people being extremely immature. And I was trying to come up with a example for my mother to explain how gamers can be sometimes when it comes to their games being taken away. And I told her, well, it's, you know how my aunt gets when something happens and she can't watch her TV for like a couple of hours, despite the fact that there's something that she really wants to watch. And she's like, oh, okay. And I'm like, okay, so this was 4 days that we were without stuff.
So imagine Netflix down for 4 days.
I have Netflix and Hulu and Amazon Prime, so if Netflix goes down, I'm okay because I still have stuff to watch.
Okay.
But I'm talking, our local cable company is Spectrum, and technical difficulties involving the cable boxes that we have to have for the HD signal. I mean, we have 3 of the things, and they are the most annoying headaches. I spent half an hour this week troubleshooting the box, and the solution was literally to turn it off and back on again. But then I had to wait for the stupid thing to boot, and it didn't boot correctly the first time, or I didn't wait long enough the first time, so I had to do it again. So yeah, that was half an hour at 10 o'clock at night. And so for Standing Stone, I feel your pain for dealing with the whiny gamer people, because I have one of those, and she's not a whiny gamer, she's just an elderly woman.
Yeah. Understood. Then let's go and see what's on sale this week, since I did say that the store sales are up. So what do we get?
We have 30% off some housing stuff. Select housing decorations, select housing sets, housing property writs, and apparently some select cloaks, which, anytime cosmetics are in there, there's always the caveat that you need to check and make sure that you can't find them anywhere else in the game. Also, there's apparently this thing called Bomber's Bounty that's now available through March 17th in the store, and it's some sort of bundle. But
it's some sort of bundle. It's cost something like 5,000 points, I think.
That's a little too rich for me.
Yeah, and it contains 400 mithril coins and I think it was something like 400 mithril coins plus some various boost items. I can't remember what they are off the top of my head, but it would probably be cheaper to get mithril coins just by buying mithril coins directly, because I think you get 5,000 for the cost of the bombers thing, that you can get 5,000 mithril coins.
Well, yeah, if that's all you want.
No, 500. I mean 500, not 5. Yeah, you get 500 mithril. So therefore, if that's all you wanted, then it's better off getting the mithril coins directly.
Yeah, and somebody, on the forums, Lift Hill did a analysis of it, and calculated how much it would cost if you got each of the things individually, though some of them you can't actually buy in that exact quantity,
Right.
separately. And he said that it would probably be around 7,500 LOTRO points. So it's a good deal, but it's up to you if you really want all of it.
Right. If you need all of those items. If you need only one or two of them, it's cheaper to get those one or two things, yes. Then let's head into our site news, and this week we have another Norbog news, number 5, Raven Reviews.
Yeah. This is a music-themed post, and it's actually really hilarious. I mean, most of the Norbog news posts are funny, but this one actually made me giggle a couple of times.
Yeah, it is pretty great.
Yeah, it's got some creative renaming of song titles and performers.
Yeah. That was my favorite part.
Sponsored, and it comes from Isengard Industries and Innovated Illuminated Instruments, or I5. Isengard Bits 5, you guys.
Oh my
god. So I would have thought that the Hotel Pony should have been the Hotel Prancing Pony. It sounds like it would have.
It's still pretty great either way.
Yeah, I know. I just thought that the metrical scheme. I noticed metrical schemes, unfortunately. So
I'm still laughing at Holly Batgirl by Aunt Stefani and Diggy Diggy Dwarf.
Yeah. So yes, you can see the titles of some of the favorite songs there from the folks on Norbog News. Let's then head into our LOTRO Downtime Survival Games of the Week. And Arendis, what did you do to survive the downtime?
Well, for me, I kind of just gutted it out. Like, I couldn't find any suitable replacement games. My heart was set on LOTRO, and I could not play LOTRO, so I kind of just sat there sadly until, refreshing Twitter to see how long it would take the downtime to come back up.
What this means is that we need to broaden her gaming horizons, you guys.
Yes, send me suggestions. You can send me stuff on Twitter. But yeah, so I was tempted to go into the outside. I hear it's nice out there.
Oh
no!
Not this week, based on what I've been hearing.
But it did not get that bad, so I was able to push the withdrawal symptoms down, at least until it came back up. So, Sanswinda, what about you?
Well, while it was down, I was playing the economic missions of Stronghold and discovered Banished, and I spent most of the downtime playing Banished. Terry, what were you up to?
I've been playing a lot of Craft the World recently, as Sans knows, because we have a multiplayer world that we spent like 5.5 hours on the other day.
That's true, and I almost mentioned it, except that was actually technically before the servers went down.
Technically before the servers went down. Actually, I tried to get in touch with Sans yesterday, but she missed my tweet. Because I knew since the servers were down that she wasn't going to be doing any of the Friday stuff that she normally does in LOTRO on Friday. I'm like, well, LOTRO's still down. So I played Craft the World on my own. But then I actually have played so much Craft the World that I finally got bored or just I was tired of Craft the World. So I'm back to Sims 4 and I got the Get Famous expansion for Sims 4 and I made a new actor character and have been having a lot of fun making him famous. Pineleaf, how about you?
Most of my video game time was spent playing Minecraft. And I made a lot of progress in the world I'm working with on there. I also played some time in Arkham Horror, the card game, where I was continuing a campaign that got delayed a little bit because of the skirmish event. Because I spent so much time skirmishing there, I fell behind on what I was doing on Arkham Horror. And let's just say Arkham Horror was being Arkham Horror, and I was pretty much punched in the face because you know how Arkham is. Anything Lovecraftian means you're gonna die or go insane. It's just the way things work. And that's how we survived the downtime. If any of you wish to post comments on how you survived the downtime, you could post a comment to the episode to tell us what you did, and maybe one or two of you went outside. Preferably if you either A, like cold weather, or B, you live in a place that actually wasn't cold last week. Then let's head into Terry's cosmetic picks for the week. And anything really nice?
Yeah, Cosmetic LOTRO posted Seeds of Spring. This was on Tuesday. She actually has 2 outfits this week because there was one on Monday also. But I went with this one because this was really cool.
That's really cool.
It really is.
Yes. Makes you wish it were warm outside.
I know. I mean, it's a summer dress, but it's very spring-like. And the Harvest Festival crown, so fall, but it works. It works for spring. Very nice. Made me want to get into LOTRO to play with cosmetics, and of course I couldn't. So,
Don't make things worse. Let's into our new player question of the week. And Arendis, what's on tap this week?
Well, this week, the question kind of comes from what I did before LOTRO came down, but we'll get to that later. I wanted to ask, it's kind of a multifaceted question, is it worth it to work on leveling multiple allies simultaneously? And do you ever switch between LIs, or do you just stick consistently with one? And do you need different LIs for different trait lines, or is one just okay? So many questions.
Oh, yes.
This is one of those things that it depends on who you talk to.
Yes,
Okay.
very definitely.
And it depends on what class you're playing and
That's
why.
what I was guessing.
That too, but pretty much anything with LIs is going to have a different answer depending on who you talk to.
True.
But yeah, in this case, it actually is class dependent. Because, like I've said in the past, one of my hopes if they ever revamp the LI system is to make it so that the legacies on the LIs affect all of your trait lines so that you don't have to switch LIs, because for certain classes it actually is worth it to have multiple LIs, and I refuse to do it. I just flat out refuse to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I am not one of those people.
Yeah. What some captains do is they equip one LI to do all the buffs at the beginning of the battle and then switch to another one in preparation for the actual fight.
Okay.
Because this one LI there has all the legacies you need in order to make their buffs as powerful as possible. If you ever hear the term buff stick, what they're talking about is this LI whose purpose is there just to grab hold onto it, give the buffs, and then switch to the actual battle LI afterwards.
Okay.
And other classes like a mini, if you want to go on landscape and kill things, you need an LI with all the damage stuff. But if you want to try to heal for something, and you're going to do it regularly, it helps to have LIs with all the healing buffs. And there are just enough of them to make it worth having at least 2 different, weapons. I think my mini has 2 different weapons and 2 different books because I couldn't decide on legacies, and so I got 2.
Yeah.
One focused on healing and
Runekeeper
one on
the same way.
Yeah, my Runekeeper has 3 sets right now, so 6
Oh my
LIs
God.
because it worked, like it made sense until you started doing the math that each of those LIs means 42 days in Minas Tirith if it's going to be topped off. And she is at 115 with not a single maxed LI because I was like, yeah, nope. I have been to Minas Tirith before. I've seen it in better days now. And no. But she does have 6. They're just nowhere near good because that's too much time in Minas Tirith. But yeah, it depends on class for how many LIs. And leveling up multiple LIs simultaneously depends on your goal for them. Technically, you get more LI XP for having all of them doing it, but each of them will level up slower. And at the end, you'll get an LI XP rune for all the ones that you deconstruct that are over, I don't know, is it level... over level 30 you can pick off a legacy. I don't know what level it is.
Yeah, you get LI XP runes if it's got any experience at all on it. I mean, some of them might just be little pills. But for the big bonuses, they say level it to 30 and then deconstruct, and then reforge and deconstruct. That reforge is important for whatever reason.
Is important. At level 30. And level 31 actually gives you better XP significantly.
I take them all the way up. When I do it, because I don't do it on Terry anymore, but I take them all the way up.
Yeah, if I catch one at 51, I might deconstruct it, just if I want the room. But usually they make it to 60 anyway, because I'm not paying attention.
So I'm sure that is a nice, confusing answer. But yes, you get a little bit of an XP bonus if you do multiples at the same time. And what I normally do is I only keep one set on all of my characters on all my classes because I can't keep up with multiple ones. I'll just always have the wrong weapon.
I can barely be bothered with the one that I've got. Come on.
Yes, that's pretty much true with me also.
And while leveling, I usually only switch between LIs when I get one drop that's more on level than the one I was using. And hopefully the one I was using is ready to deconstruct at that time, so I can put the XP straight onto a new LI and get it some points so it does better damage immediately. But
and
unless I'm healing, I don't usually switch LIs while leveling.
Yeah, weirdly, I will never swap LIs unless I can deconstruct the one that I'm using, because the LI that I'm using always has to be in the first slot, because I can't.
Well, otherwise you've got to try to figure out which one it is before you do anything, and otherwise you've got to like spend points on all of them just in case it's the one you've got equipped.
Oh, right. I always, whenever I start using a new one, I just drag the new one into the first slot.
You can reorder them?
Yeah, I do that all the time.
Oh my god.
Yes! I can fix a problem that's been bugging me for a year now.
Mind equals blow.
Right?
Pandemic just blew our brain.
Yeah. Now
I've been playing this game for 7 years, and I've had LIs for like 4 of those 7 years, and I've never known that you could do that.
Yeah. Now they both have the ones that are earning experience. In other words, you have to first add it to the ones that you're leveling up, and then once you have that, you could drag it. If you can't drag
you
one,
can move the tabs around.
No, you don't move the tabs around. What you do is, what I normally do is just before equipping the item. Actually, one thing. Let's say I have the new one equipped. What I'll do then is I'll take the old one, which is now in my bags. Then I will drag it onto the tab of where the new one currently is, and then it'll cause them to swap.
Okay.
Oh, so that's why I never discovered that.
Yes.
That's cool. That is so cool. Okay, I like the LI tab so much better now.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, so therefore, I always have my weapon in slot 1, and I always have my class item in 2, and I have my bridle in 3. And then the other 3 are just things that I'm eventually going to deconstruct when they get full and I can do it. I just say experience sponges. And it's useful to have an experience sponge sometimes is that when you're out on the field and you are gaining and you need to reforge. If you've got another one that's acting as a sponge at the time, you could still be earning some item XP even though your main item is currently not earning any.
And all of that will help your new item after it's deconstructed, and you can put the little XP pills on it.
Yes. Now, the disadvantage of that is the number of XP pills I had when I got to level 120, where I think I had about 15 different slots of XP pills before I went onto a concerted program of getting those reduced.
I wish you could, combine them up. The way you can, combine up the relics.
You can't combine them up, but you can use them all in one go now.
That is true, which is really helpful. And the level 100 allies, especially if you do put in the 42 days in Minas Tirith, will need the XP runes.
Yes.
Because they've got a major XP curve once you get them leveled up. And once you outlevel Minas Tirith, they don't gain very much while you're doing the Minas Tirith dailies, so...
Why does 42 days in Minas Tirith sound like an LI training program? We need an infomercial.
Because it basically is. It's 42 days. 42 days in Minas Tirith.
42 days in Minas Tirith for 1 LI if you want it all the way leveled up.
Well, yes.
Or, a million days of skirmishing.
Yeah,
but...
lots of skirmishing. Well, some people have lots of skirmishing.
It's true.
Yes. Let's head into our week in LOTRO. And Arendis, what did you do when the servers actually were up?
Well, while the servers were actually up, I got some help from Sanswinda and Cinders on how to update my severely underleveled LI. It was pretty bad. I may be using the wrong terminology by saying underleveled, but I think I was using basically a weapon that you would use on a level 40 character on a level 60 character. So instead of using a sword to kill things, I was bashing them with, I don't know, cardboard or something. It just was not effective. And so Sands and Cinders very patiently walked me through how to reforge things and do all the stuff. And now things die so much faster, and it's amazing. So yeah, level up your or reforge and reconstruct and all that sort of stuff. Your LIs, kids. It's at least until you outlevel it. So anyway. So that was fun. And then the 3 days of withdrawals happened. But all jokes aside, though, I do think that Standing Stone did a good job of letting us know what was going on, and I appreciate all of their communication, even if it was kind of painful to read the "sorry guys, but we're still working on it." But yeah, so mad props to them for keeping us in the know of what's going on and for letting us know the instant everything was fixed. After the servers came back up, I was working on leveling up my Bjorning, and I got to around level 15. And I did the first class quest, which I really enjoyed, mostly because for some reason you're helping a little hobbit near Aldo's camp. And he's like, "Oh my gosh, I saw, a really crazy bear out in the woods," and you have to go out and do stuff there. And the first part of it auto-flipped, or at least it auto-flipped me into bear form to start it. And then, so I'm running around in bear form, talking to this hobbit, and then you get through the end of it, and at the end he goes, "Oh my gosh, you're a skin changer." And you're going, "No kidding." No kidding. I've been standing in front of you, switching back and forth from bear form to human form, back to bear form, and you just now. So it kind of made me wonder, hoping this little hobbit with his observation skills would be the next class quest.
Now you are a glasses producer.
So we'll have to see. But anyway, so that was my abbreviated week in Lotro. Sans, what did you do this?
Well, I did some more crafting and leveling on a Nor last weekend, and I spent some time in Moriana Burglar with Terry and Cinders last weekend. Then I spent some time on a Warden with Arendis and Cinders in Moria. And that was kind of a lot of time in Moria for a week without Lotro. And then I worked on my Bjorning's cosmetics on Kirk Hollow a little bit this morning because I was tired of them. But I don't know that they got that much better. But I had fun working on it. Terry, what were you up to this week?
Well, speaking of burglaring, so the group with Sands and Cinders is on Arkenstone, and this is my master burglar, who is also my challenge burglar, Gilforth. And I say challenge burglar because this started as a challenge character way back when he was itty bitty baby burglar. Cause he veteran status out of the intro, and then the goal was going to see how far he could get before actually fighting anything and doing any killing. And he made it to like level 12 before he killed his first thing and got into combat because he was just sneaking around everywhere. And so then I took him and I gifted the Valard him up to 50. And did all of the preparation to go into Moria. And going into Moria, I decided that the challenge for him was going to be to turn off as much stuff as I could possibly turn off for Moria. So for his UI, I figured out how to turn off the numbers in the morale and power bars. So he's just got a bar and there's no numbers in it. And it's for him and the enemies both that this is the case. I turned off the quest, all of the overhead icons. I do have floating names on because otherwise I would literally lose the character on the screen because burglar, he's invisible 90% of the time. But I turned off all of the little floaty icons, and I turned off all of the radar indicators that tell you where quest givers and stuff are. I turned off all of the red dots. I minimized the size of the alert panel so that when alerts pop up, I almost never see them. And yeah, he doesn't have quest tracker anythings on the map. So he's literally been working his way around Moria just by reading the flavor text to determine where to go in Moria. and you know, my own memory from having done Moria a gazillion times. So yeah, and so it's this man burglar leading around a pair of hobbit minions, which is awesome. Except they're like, okay, where are we going? I'm like, what are you looking at me for? I don't know where we're going. However,
well, our quest tracker, in our defense, our quest tracker was not of any help at that point because the quest was going in two different directions, and while I can get around Moria, it helps to know where to head first and which side of the quest to start on. And, you know, everybody has a different route of getting places, and some people object to my primary means of travel. So,
which is falling off of things.
Well, it's effective.
But it's effective.
Just find the nearest res circle. No, that is not successful burglaring. Bad Hobbit.
I did not do it. I did not fall off of anything, we followed your route, and it was very nicely.
I led the way through from the 21st Hall all the way to the Redhorn Lodes, mostly in stealth. We did a handful of quests on the way because there's an orc camp that you have to run through that you have pop-up quests as you run through. And yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I actually managed to successfully lead the way through this orc camp and into to the Orc Watch at the Redhorn Lodes without getting lost. And all I had for guidance was the map and the radar, neither of which had any kind of directional indicators at all.
Does anyone feel really bad that they can't navigate Moria with everything turned on? Yep. Anybody else feeling bad right now?
Well, that's why I decided that I should make the best of all the times I fell off of things.
To be fair, my first experience learning my way around Moria, like actually learning my way around Moria and not just following somebody else who was saying, go here and take the stable master and then do this other thing and then blah, 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 follow, was my previous burglar, which was Sarissa. And that's because the person that we were taking direction from on the best way to get around Moria took a goat around a corner. I kid you not, it was around a frickin' corner. Because they're like, we'll take this goat from here to here and we're going to get off halfway. Well, no, it wasn't halfway. It was around this corner and around this other corner and that was it. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? I just paid out 50 silver to take a goat this far. I could have run this far and saved my 50 silver. At which point, I decided to learn my way around Moria. I do know that the best way to do this is on a burglar because you can pick and choose your fights. You don't have to kill every single thing that crosses your path. Which is still a lesson that that he's trying to impart to the minion hobbits because they get a little stab happy. And
die!
So you kind of have to picture this grown man basically pulling away these little childlike hobbit lasses, going, okay, that's really enough killing now. Back into stealth so we can get yeah, so that's basically what those adventures are like.
Just one more orc. Forget 5 minutes.
Yeah, seriously. Can this please become some sort of animated little short? I need this in my life right now.
And then speaking of Sarissa the Burglar has progressed through the Rohan storyline up through the Folka session play. So there's a session play in Rohan, and I'm not 100% sure why this is a session play and not just like monologue sort of thing. But, yeah, one of Rohan's folk heroes is this guy named Folka, and he slew this great big boar. And you get to play as him for like 5 minutes to get killed by a boar, basically. I mean, you stab it a lot, but it also kills you, and then the orcs come out and have a party because you're dead. And I don't know why that needs to be like a 5-minute session play, but it is. And I had gotten to that point when I played her before the downtime, and I was like, yeah, I'm not in the mood for doing the session play right now. So when it came back up, the first thing I did was the session play. And that was my week. Pine Leaf, how about you?
I'll begin with my Warden on Honor, where I completed all my questing in Honor. Yay! Unfortunately, I still have a few more deeds to complete there. We have those Slayer deeds. Now, some of those Slayer deeds I could probably finish through skirmishing since those will be opening up next week, so I'll be able to get some of those completed that way, but I think some of them, I don't think there are any wolves and skirmishes in the troll shawls, which means that, yeah, there's still some that I'm gonna have to find in the conventional, especially those stupid crawlers. Why that had to be a deed, I don't know. And I also ran more skirmishes on some of my other characters, of course, trying to get that infamous 120 Harbinger deed complete, which is an insane number of Harbingers, especially considering that in order to have that deed open, you have to first kill 60 of them.
Good gracious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many would you say you have, Pineleaf?
Let's see, I have 21 more to go. So that means I've got 99 out of 120 right now after doing the 60 preliminary one. So I am planning to finish off the deed before the end of the event, which is going to be a little bit easier seeing that they extended the time on that. And on the Langeville, I don't think I got too much on the Langeville. I have one more Harbinger on both Langeville and Gladden, and one more daily to do on Gladden. And those are the ones that you get in the Wilds one. So I will have to go and hopefully get that up the next time that the Wilds are active to see if I could get lucky and get that last Harbinger so I could finish the final Harbinger on those. I don't know. It hasn't exactly been kind to me. You know how it is trying to get the last one. Terry, you've gotten Skirmisher of Middle Earth, so you know how tough that last one always is.
Yep.
Yep, sir. Then on my burglar, I started on the road into Rohan, where you go into Lothlorien and, well, I was going to say return to Nona, but in this case, it's my character meeting Nona, since my burglar is following Bingo, which means I never went into Enidwife. So you can just imagine my character here. I am here. We're doing all this stuff for Nona, even though, and all about her being ill and all the stuff that happened in the Browns and all that. I didn't do any of those quests because the Brownlands quest where you save Nona requires you to have done Dunland in order for you to be able to do that quest. The ramp up point is after Nona gets hurt.
Weird.
Yeah, because the ramp on is when they opened up the Rohan skirmish, the Rohan land area. But the Great River did not have an on ramp because you get there from Dunland or I guess Dunland, Gapper, Rohan, that sort of area. And that completes my week in LOTRO. And in news beyond LOTRO, just remember that in the United States, tonight, we will be changing our clocks that'll be on March 10th, where we'll be setting our clocks going forward.
Yeah, we lose an hour.
To 3 o'clock and lose an hour of sleep. Yeah, that is National Sleep Deprivation Day.
It kills me every year.
Yep. And this is right on March 10th in the US, and of course it's not until the 31st in Europe. So just remember that we will have for a few weeks a little disjointedness if you're trying to catch us live in Europe, because you'll have to take into account that we'll be up ahead an hour for the next few weeks. We currently have 21 supporters on Patreon. If you'd like to join this illustrious raid of players and help support LOTRO players, simply go to the donations page where you can support the Players Alliance on Patreon. There will find rewards, including a mention on the podcast your choice, or even be guest with us for an episode of LOTRO Players News. This week we did not receive any emails, but if you'd like to send us one, you can send it to podcast@LotroPlayers.com. You can also us at Twitter, the Players Alliance at Players Ally, Lotro Players at Lotro Players, Arandis at Arandis, Pineleaf at Pineleaf Neal, Sanguinda at Sanguinda, and Terry Adwin at Terry Adwin. The Players Alliance has 2 shows. On Thursdays at 7 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have DDO Players News, and on Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have Lotro Players News. You can join us for our live shows at LotroPlayers.com/live. And that is all for tonight, and this is Pineleaf Neals reminding you to skirmish responsibly. And soon, you can even do that if you're an honor.